I knew Kim before I knew Big. That's why the situation was so. That's why it lasted so long because it was so personal. And it's
Mm-hmm.
not about nothing with court shit, with none of that shit. We're not going to even address that, but it's nothing to do with that. My apology was I wasn't a good brother to her. When Big died, she held me down, and I wasn't acknowledging that the way.
Type of person to motivate you. He always wanted anyone to succeed. He always wanted everybody to have a better life for themselves. He was just hungry. He just wanted to make the album. If he could get 500,000 fans, he used to say he happy.
Yo.
We was like on our way to the parking lot, like waiting for the cars to come out. Our car came first, and we was waiting for Puffy's car to come. So when this car came, we all pulled out.
Big was in the front, Cease was sitting behind Big, and I was like sitting behind the driver.
Car just rolled up on the right-hand side and just started shooting holes.
Lil Cease finally came clean and admitted he did Lil Kim dirty. And if you know their history, you know this is huge. For years, Kim got painted as the villain. After Biggie's death, folks acted like she was fake, switched up, or never really loved him. They made her look cold, like she turned her back on his legacy. But the truth? Kim was one of the only people who stayed loyal to Biggie even after he passed. While Cease and the rest of Junior Mafia were out here feeding lies to the press, painting Kim as bitter and selfish, she was still holding it down for Big. And the worst part? That false image stuck. The media ran wild with it, fans bought into it, and Kim got erased from the narrative, like she didn't matter. Now Cease is finally owning up to his part in that mess. He straight up admitted he played a role in twisting how Kim was seen and said she deserves way more respect for everything she did for Biggie, both while he was alive and after he was gone. That's major. So let's get into what exactly Cease said, why this apology matters now, and how Kim was the real one keeping Biggie's name alive while everybody else left her out in the cold. Because to understand how deep this goes, you gotta know just how bad things got after Big passed in '97. Junior Mafia, Biggie's own hand-picked crew, started falling apart fast. Kim and Cease? They straight up fell apart. Lines got drawn, people picked sides, money stopped flowing, and the egos exploded. But the real breaking point came years later, around 2005. When Kim got wrapped up in a federal case that changed everything. She got hit with a perjury charge for lying to a grand jury about a 2001 shootout outside Hot 97 in Manhattan, a wild incident involving her own crew. And that lie? It landed her behind bars. Kim was sentenced to a year in prison, followed by 30 days of home detention and 3 years of probation. She did her time at the Federal Detention Center in Philly and walked out on July 3, 2006. But the damage was done. Now here's where Lil Cease steps into the fire. He testified against her at trial, and even though he's tried to downplay it ever since, people were not buying it. Cease claimed it wasn't real snitching like the media made it seem, and brushed it off like, it wasn't that deep. But let's be real, being on that stand said a lot. He swore up and down that he didn't get Kim locked up. He said there was nothing he could have said to change the outcome, that her fate was already sealed. According to him, she wasn't in a situation where my words would have sent her away. But Kim? She felt the betrayal, whether it was the testimony or the energy from people around her. It cut deep. Cease tried to play it off, saying she could have made different choices, but nobody from Mafia said anything that got her locked up. According to him, it wasn't his words, or anybody else's, that sent her away. He claimed no matter what, Kim was gonna do time for lying about that shootout. But from Kim's side, Cease getting up on that stand wasn't just a weak move. It was disrespectful to Biggie's legacy. After everything they'd been through, it felt like a full-on betrayal. Cease swore he was just telling the truth. But let's not act brand new. In hip-hop, especially back in the early 2000s, getting on the stand was seen as the ultimate violation. That was a code you don't break. So Kim cut him off for good. She distanced herself from Junior Mafia completely and made it crystal clear. She wanted nothing to do with Cease. And for years, silence. Cold, public silence. Cease kept trying to explain himself in interviews, but Kim didn't want to hear none of it. To her, it was simple. He sold her out. But the media? They mostly sided with Cease. Kim got labeled as angry, bitter, difficult, all while she was the only one who actually did the time. Ain't that wild? Meanwhile, Cease was out here moving like he was just speaking his truth, even though his testimony played a part in Kim getting locked up. So yeah, this beef ran way deeper than just hurt feelings. It was about loyalty, legacy, and how Black women, especially in hip-hop, keep getting thrown under the bus to protect everybody else's image. But fast forward to 2019, and the energy started to shift. Kim hosted her annual tribute dinner for Biggie's birthday, a real heartfelt event, and guess who pulled up? The entire Junior Mafia, including Cease. And that's when it happened. Cease stood up and publicly apologized to Kim, telling her she was like a real sister to him. Later, Kim opened up to Vibe magazine about that moment. She said the timing couldn't have been more powerful. "It's been a long time since we've been together on his birthday or doing anything like that," she said. "For me, it was a spiritual awakening. This was his heart. So for me, it felt like we were mending Big's broken heart. All of us were Big from head to toe. Putting him back together meant putting us back together." Then jumped to Cease's more recent sit-down on Vlad TV, and man, he got emotional. He admitted he wasn't the brother Kim deserved. And what really hit people? When he brought up how, after Big passed, Kim let him stay at her place when he had nothing. No money, no direction, and she still gave him a roof. That reminder? Kim was always ride or die, even when they didn't deserve it. And that's the part people forget. Kim never switched up on her people, even when they turned their back on her. She was feeding folks, housing folks, protecting folks. And in return, she got thrown to the wolves. But instead of folding, she took it on the chin and did her time like a soldier. No crying, no begging, just straight silence and strength. And now, after all those years of distance, Cease is finally recognizing how deep Kim's love and loyalty really went. In that Vlad TV interview, he even choked up saying, "I wasn't the brother I should have been. I let a lot of stuff happen that shouldn't have." It hit hard, especially coming from someone who watched her climb, fall, and still rise again. What's crazy is that while people were clowning Kim for changing her appearance or saying she fell off, they weren't seeing the real story. A woman carrying the weight of loss, betrayal, and prison time, all while the industry she helped build moved on like she was nothing. But now the truth is out. Cease is finally giving her the flowers she should have gotten years ago. And whether it's guilt, growth, or both, it's clear he knows he played a role in tearing her down. So now the question is, will the rest of the industry finally follow his lead and start putting respect back on Kim's name? Or is this apology coming way too late? Because one thing's for sure, Lil Kim been that legend, with or without their approval. What makes this even heavier is how long Kim had to carry that silence alone. While Cease was still doing interviews, still getting invites, still playing the cool little bro role in Biggie tributes, Kim was the one left in the shadows. Like she didn't help build the whole Junior Mafia movement. Like she wasn't the only one keeping Biggie's name alive in real time. She got blackballed, bashed, and dragged, and still kept it pushing. And let's be real, if she had clapped back earlier, they would have called her bitter. If she cried about the betrayal, they'd say she was unstable. So she just held it all in and let the world believe what it wanted. But now, you can tell that pain still lingers. Even with Cease apologizing, even with him crying on camera, the damage was done. And some wounds don't heal with a sorry. Kim even said herself in past interviews that forgiving people doesn't mean forgetting how they left you out in the cold. And that's what people forget. This ain't just about street code or rap drama. It's about how the culture turns its back on Black women the moment they stop being convenient. Kim was labeled everything under the sun, while the men got to play victims or heroes. But now the narrative's cracking. And finally, people are starting to wake up. Lil Kim didn't just survive this game, she rewrote the rules, and she did it with a target on her back the whole time. Lil Cease's apology didn't just mend a friendship, it flipped the whole narrative. Suddenly, fans started questioning everything they thought they knew. Maybe folks had been too quick to turn on Kim. Maybe her side of the story had been silenced this whole time. Now let's talk about Lil Kim and how she never let Biggie's name die, even when it felt like the whole world was trying to erase her. From day one, Kim kept Big's spirit alive in her music. Pull up any of her albums. She's shouting him out, referencing his legacy, and dropping bars that carry his name with pride. On her second album, the notorious K.I.M., she laid it all out in a gut-wrenching tribute track with Mary J. Blige called Hold On. On that track, Kim compares the pain of losing Biggie to the pain of childbirth. That's how deep it hit her. And if you've ever seen the footage of her at Biggie's funeral, you know she wasn't acting. That was real grief. And Kim didn't hold back either. In the same song, she called out the so-called friends in the industry who cashed in on Big's death. You can guess exactly who she meant. But Kim didn't stop there. Over the years, she's done countless tributes, headlining events on the anniversary of Big's death, showing up for the legacy when nobody else did. In 2016, she dropped I Did It for Brooklyn with Mano, a whole anthem for Big and the borough that birthed him. And let's not forget, Kim's the one behind those big family dinners. The one still holding it down while others moved on. Lil Kim was out here bringing people together to honor Biggie, even the same folks she had beef with. That right there takes real heart. You don't see many male rappers putting their pride aside like that. But even with all that love she gave, Kim stayed misjudged for years after Big passed. Folks either left her out of the story or tried to erase the part she played. Let's not forget, Kim knew Big before the fame. Back when he was just Christopher from Brooklyn, he chose to bring her with him. That says a lot about the bond they had. But even with all that history, people tried to act like Kim wasn't built for this. Like she needed Big to do everything for her. Yeah, Biggie helped her in the early days. No shame in that. But Kim? She proved her pen was deadly on her own. Anybody who's actually listened to her knows she's not just a pretty face. She helped shape the entire female rap game. No Kim? Then there's no Nicki, no Cardi, no Megan. Facts. But instead of getting her flowers, Kim kept getting disrespected. When the Notorious movie dropped in 2009, Kim was heated. They made her character look weak, and she wasn't having it. They completely missed who she really was. And it didn't stop there. She got caught up in label drama too. Like when she jumped on Monica's track, Anything to Find You. But her verse got yanked last minute. Why? Because Biggie's estate didn't clear it. And guess who was running the estate? His mother, Valletta Wallace. So even after everything, Kim was still getting blocked. Monica didn't stay silent either. After Kim was pulled from that track, she took to social media and made it very clear who was behind it: Biggie's mom. Monica wrote, "I'm just finding out what happened to my single, and me and Missy are beyond hurt that Lil Kim was removed. She's our friend, a legend, and Lil Kim will get the respect she deserves at all costs." She didn't stop there. Monica followed up with another post saying, "I am as thorough as they come, and I love Lil Kim. Bottom line, Ms. Wallace has the final say, and she said no. If we put it out, we get sued." That's how serious it was. But even after all that tension, when Valletta Wallace passed last February, guess who showed up? Lil Kim? Yup. Kim pulled up to the funeral with grace. No shade, no drama, just pure respect. She once again proved she could rise above it all, even when the people blocking her were the same ones she used to call family. And let's be real, Half the hate Kim got wasn't about music. It was misogyny. They painted her out to be crazy, fake, disloyal, everything but real. But the truth? She was one of the only ones who truly rode for Big. From the streets to the stage to the courtroom. People tried to erase her, shut her out, replace her. But Kim kept showing up. In her music, her loyalty, and her actions. She didn't just honor Biggie's name. She protected it. She protected Biggie's legacy when no one else would. And now, finally, people are starting to wake up. That apology from Lil Cease? It wasn't just about dead and old drama. It was about giving Lil Kim the respect she's been owed for decades. The spotlight, the credit, the truth. All of it should have been hers from the jump. Because through all the lies, betrayal, label politics, media spin, and silence, Kim never folded. She stayed solid. She held it down when everybody else moved on. But now I want to hear from you. Do you think Lil Kim was misjudged all these years? And how do you feel about the way she stayed loyal to Big, even when it cost her everything? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video if you feel like Lil Kim deserves her flowers too. I'll catch you in the next one.